Bron is nicked up in AD,
okay,
and you get the Nuggets without Murray.
Thank you. That's the point of this.
Yes.
I sit back and I say, wait a second. Look how many breaks they got against the Lakers because AD goes down, then he tries to come back and play, and he couldn't go, and LeBron never was quite right.
Correct.
And they won it pretty easily in 6 games, right?
Yep.
And then there was no Jamal Murray
swept the Nuggets
in Denver, and they swept them. And Chris in the closeout game was sensational. But then here comes the Clippers, and there's no Kawhi.
Right.
And so you get them, and then all of a sudden, Marcus Morris in the first couple of games had some weird knee injury, and he was very hobbled and limited early. And then for the last 2 games, they lose Big Zoo.
Correct.
Okay? Well, you're getting break upon break upon break.
Right.
How good are you really? I can't tell because in this postseason, injury-racked as it's been, how do you rank? How do you decipher what's really happening? It's hard to really draw a bead on it.
It is, and you get another break. You might play the first 2 to 3 games without the other team's best player.
I'm just saying, and he's a 2-time MVP.
Yes.
Now, I keep telling you, I like to watch them on offense better without him.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not discounting how great he is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because he is a force. Unfortunately, he becomes such a force. He's a one-man show for them all too often. And he has flamed out and gone up in smoke all too often in big playoff games when they, as they say in Ayton used the phrase yesterday, you have to build a wall against Giannis. Because they're all talking and anticipating that he's going to play sooner than later. And I get that. But, again, I just like their vibe better. I like their unity better without him, at least at the first. What if they could steal this one of these two?
That would be huge if they would steal it. But, Skip, I just think the thing is they have to play different. It's kind of like a team when you lose your quarterback. Well, all of a sudden, you can't run the Tampa. I don't care how good Tampa is offensively. They lose Tom Brady. They're not calling the same game plan. You're going to run the ball a little more, and you're probably – because speaking my terms, we lost John Elway. Well, TD yards per game went up because it's different. So they have to play different. Middleton now, all of a sudden, he does not have to defer. All of a sudden, Holiday, he's the true second option as opposed to being the third option.
And you know what? They both look like all-stars in the last 2 games because they have been all-stars. And they were free to just let it go. Be you. And usually they defer. They watch a lot because he's going to dribble a lot and try to get free in the middle.
But they need the ball. The difference between them and Kevin Durant went to Golden State and didn't miss a beat because Kevin Durant don't need the ball in his hand. They need the ball in order to be what we saw them over the last 2 games, become all-star. Well, Middleton was an all-star, but you see how well he played. Well, everybody can't play off the ball like a Kevin Durant. Middleton needs the ball. Holiday needs the ball. But if I get a ball to Giannis, Skip, what am I going to do? I'm going to stand around and watch. I ain't going to set no screen for him. I'm going to watch it. Okay, Giannis, pull it out. Okay, Euro step, dunk, lay it up.
Okay, and if he gets fouled, he goes to the line, and the crowd goes crazy because they start quick counting him down.
10, 9,
and he's doing through his whole routine. He's rehearsing, right? And the ref's holding the ball, and you're saying, what are you doing?
Yeah, the ref...
They're just giving him the ball, make him shoot.
I think they're going to pass a rule, Skip. They're going to say, look, we can't let him just go through the motion, take 5 seconds to do that. Once he gets to the line, throw him the ball. Don't be letting him do all those motions.
So then he goes 3, 2, 1, and he shoots an air ball. After all that, he shoots an air ball, and he shot 2 the last time we saw him and 1 from 3. This takes the life and the heart out of a team. As great as he is, he's sometimes hard to win with at this level if you're doing that. So that's why I just like the feel of this team right now coming into this game because Middleton can just go off on anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he had a hot hand tonight and gets a little help from Drew and Bobby Portis is becoming a force. And if you go back to Brooklyn, Brook, and you low post him where he can do a little bit of damage and then rim protect on the other end, well, now you're talking about a pretty good basketball team.
Well, it's going to be a little different because Ayton is a little bit bigger than Clint Capella. And you're not going to have the size advantage of posting. So I don't know how much he's going to be willing to post. But I do think this is the Bucks are a big team. and the Suns are going to have to do a great job of keeping them off the glass, because you look up and Tucker has got 7-8 rebounds. You're like, how the hell he get 7-8 rebounds?
How about 10 rebounds?
Yeah,
Yep.
and then you got Lopez, who's not a rebounder. He gets 6 or 7. Middleton hunts the glass. Holiday gets on the glass. So you're going to have to do a great job of keeping them off the glass, limiting their second chance points, and doing a great job of getting out. Ayton is an advantage over Lopez. Every big that the Bucks could possibly throw at him,
Yep.
he has an advantage. Let him use that advantage. Don't be afraid, Chris, to push the tempo.
So the last guy's P.J. Tucker you just mentioned.
Yeah.
He's starting to show me championship-style guts and glue.
Yeah.
Like you just want him on your team because he'll defend.
Yes.
He'll attack the glass,
Yes.
offense and defense.
Right.
And you don't think those three perimeter players for them, PJ, Holiday, Middleton, they will guard.
Oh, they can defend.
Like all three
They
of them
can
will
defend,
guard
yeah,
like
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
So I kind of like the matchup.
Right.
You can't stop Book.
Right.
You probably can't stop Chris tonight,
Right.
the role he's on. but I'm going to remind everybody about that role. Remember what happened? He came back from COVID,
Right.
and he played games 3, 4, and 5, and they lost 2 of them, and they almost lost the middle game because
Right.
it was 84-80, and neither team, Clippers, Suns, could
Right.
make a shot in the fourth quarter. Remember
Right.
that?
Yep.
They combined him to 17 straight shots. Well, so Chris, in those 3 games leading up to Game 6, he had shot 32% from the field. He was 19 of 60. Well, that's horrendously
Yes.
bad. From 3, he was 2 of 16. That's 13%. That's even worse.
Correct.
And in the fourth quarters of those games, he was even worse. He was 5 of 19 in the fourth quarters and 1 of 7 from 3 going into Game 6.
Right.
And then it went all the way down to 1:43 left of the third quarter, and Batum hits a 3 to cut it to 7. And Chris said, "No, I refuse."
Right.
Even at Staples, which is home away from home, right?
Yep.
He just said, "No, I got this," and he scores 8 points down the stretch of the third quarter,
Right.
last 143. And then he adds 19 in the fourth quarter. That's 27 points he scored like that. And in that stretch, he made 5 out of 5 three-point shots, and he's not a great three-point shooter.
Right.
Well, how do you explain that? I don't know. He sort of went Chris Middleton out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Except it really mattered because it was the right time to do that. It was the greatest game and greatest stretch of his career.
We believe that if both backcourts play to their potential, okay, now the role players. It was an accident. Giannis had to get hurt before Bud was willing to put Bobby Portis in the game. Skip, it was kind of like Steve Kerr just stumbled upon that lineup with Iggy.
He did.
He stumbled in an accident. And he's like, oh, let's try this.
Well, I think it was desperation.
It was.
Well, they're down 2 games to 1 and at LeBron.
You end up going two down to 1 because that third game, Skip, is when the Cavs had that big lead. They inserted Iggy and they came back. But it was the start of something that, you know what, this is the lineup we need to go with. Well, Giannis getting hurt, they inserted Portis, and we saw what he's been able to do.
At 6'10", 250.
Right.
Okay.
So can Portis still give you that kind of production? Can he still give you 12 and 8 while the backcourt does what they do? And can Brook Lopez continue playing as well as he had?
Okay. So when you break this down, it doesn't seem like a mismatch to me even without Giannis.
No, it's
right?
not. It's not. It's not. No,
okay.
it's not.
But you were adamant you like them to win by 9.
I do.
Okay,
I do.
but that's the runaway momentum, and it might be somewhat prisoner of the moment momentum because of what you just saw Chris do in Game 6.
Well, I don't expect that because I still believe that's the greatest game Chris Paul has ever played.
Well, it is. I mean, it's not even close because all it did was get him to his first finals.
Right. It just seems like every big shot he was willing to take and make. But, Skip, I just think the thing is that, and I understand that Book and CP3 is going to be a formidable matchup with Middleton and Holiday because both of those guys can defend. As a matter of fact, of all 4 of those guys, Booker is the weakest defender. He's really not a defender. He's a guy that can go get buckets. But guys can take advantage of him. Paul George, Reggie Jackson, guys were taking advantage of Book.
Yep.
Well, you're going to have to be on your best behavior because Middleton has shown he can give you 12, but he can also give you 50.
He can.
Holiday can go get 30 because we saw him do that. So Book is going to have to dig in a little bit more defensively and still give you the high 20s to maybe 30. But I just like the way the Suns are playing. I like what I saw from Jay Crowder because up until Game 6, Jay Crowder had not played well.
Huge.
And then Game 6, every big 3 that he needed to take and make, he made it. Yes.
He did.
Yes.
He set the table and, and Chris brought the dessert.
Yes.
That's what happened.
Yes.
So in the end, I'm going to go on record that I like Milwaukee to win this game 110 to 105. Now forget that I said that, okay? And if you're watching Suns, I didn't mean it. It was all a joke. I didn't really predict that. Just forget that I even was on TV today.
Well, see, the thing is, Skip, I didn't go quite that high score because Chris Paul is not one of these guys that get the tempo up and down. Because if you look at it, with the exception of the last game, Skip, points were hard to come by. I mean, they got to 130, but it took an exceptional ball game from Chris Paul. They were in the 90s. Most of the games were in the 90s. Maybe even, I mean, you had an 84-80 game. You had a 96, 98 type of a ball game. So I think I went 105 to 96. That's what I'm thinking the score is going to be.
Okay. So I'm quietly picking.
So we got some due on it.
We have no due. I'm not. I'll just jinx it. I'm not going to jinx my own pick. I already did enough just to blurt it out publicly.
You do realize that you can't go to Vegas at the gaming table and just sit up there and play for fun. You got to bet something. Yeah, I got the Suns, you got the Bucks. We got to bet something.
Hey, Ernestine and I play like penny slots. Do they still have those? I think
well,
they
they don't. Look here, you just can't pull the thing with nothing. You got to put something in there. Okay, well, bet penny then.
Okay, bet you a drop of dew. Nope. You know what? I don't even like the Bucks, but I like them better. They're almost rootable without Giannis.
Okay.
With Giannis, I just can't.
Okay, well, they're not going to have Giannis in this game one. So let's put two cases on it.
No, well, I'm taking the. Are you going to give me the 6?
I give you